Good day. This is part of the 2023 New York City State of the City address by Mayor Eric Adams, where he addresses education and youth. Um, Mayor Adams often talks about growing up in New York City, going to public school, and the challenges he faced, his mother faced, his siblings faced. So he wants to take those experiences and better the, the education and the services for our youth. As someone who, you know, has interns, I go to the school, I can see the issues. And these are issues that have happened for years and years. Our schools have been failing. So it's very important that this is addressed in this State of the City address. So one, identifying the issues, correcting the issues. And, you know, if the mayor was not addressing these things in 2023, he would be setting up the mayor for 20 years from now for failure, because these young people are going to be the ones who are working, leading the city, the citizens of the city. And if they don't have that education foundation support, then it could be bad, because we're just failing them, right? So let's hear what the mayor has to say and his agenda for New York City.
Talent is at the center of our job strategies, and we know it starts with education. I cannot be more proud of my friend and chancellor, David Banks. True visionary. Understand what our children needs. And he and I are united in our vision of giving all of our children a bright start and a bold future. We're making three fundamental commitments to our young people. One, every child will get the support they need to become a strong reader at or above grade level. Two, we will establish a whole child approach to education, factoring in social emotional learning and other supportive services. And three, every student who graduates from a New York City high school will have a clear pathway to the future, whether that is a job training, or continuing education. Let's start with reading, the foundational skill that every child needs to succeed. This year, we made sure every elementary school was supplied with a phonics-based curriculum built on science of reading. And going forward, every school leader will be trained in this improved literacy instruction so they can support the teachers in implementing that curriculum. Next year, every school will also have at least one staff member trained in the most effective reading intervention available, so that every student can access the support they need.
Now, that's important. You know, in the years before, our young people have not read on the level that they should be. And you can see it in the state exams. If you go to the state exams, which the state puts out every year, the preview exams with the answers and the scores, and even the writing, they show you samples of students who wrote a correct response and students who did not write much of anything. And you can see from there that our children were struggling in reading. And, you know, they say that up to third grade, our children are learning to read. And then from third grade on, they're reading to learn. So to make sure that every child is getting that foundation of reading is a great start to the educational agenda.
We will also launch the first district school in the city's history dedicated to supporting students with dyslexia. While continuing to expand new dyslexia programs citywide. Before I took office, there was no consistent dyslexia-specific screening across all our public schools. As of this year, we rolled out new screenings in nearly 200 schools. And by next year, they will be available in every public school in the city. Why is that important? It's important because families like Sanaya, 3 of her sons were diagnosed with dyslexia. But until recently, our public schools simply didn't have enough support for students facing those challenges. Sanaya worked 2 jobs to get them the extra tutoring. And her oldest son has since earned a full scholarship to Fordham University.
Awesome.
We are inspired by this family, but no parent should have to work 2 jobs just to provide a basic education for their child. Sanaya, we are proud to be working with you to ensure your youngest son and children like him can get all the services they need right in their school, in their neighborhood.
And, you know, the mayor looks at this woman's son as himself, you know, who had the same struggles, and you know, his mother had to do what she could to get the support, work 2 jobs if that's what it meant, and now the schools are gonna test and also support. Awesome.
Because children with dyslexia should not have to walk in the classroom and see dumb student written on the back of their chair.
Horrible.
They should not have to believe that it is better to stand on the street corner instead of getting the education they need. They should not have to be part of the 30 to 40% of inmates at Rikers Island who are dyslexic.
That's real.
They should be able to know that they just learn differently. And if we give them the tools that they need, they will go from despair, they will go from uncertainty, and they will rise up to be the mayor of the city of New York. Second, academic success is important, but we must also take a whole child approach to education. Supporting our children with healthy food, physical education, social emotional learning, and mental health services. This year, we're rolling out the biggest student mental health program in the country. We will provide our high school students with everything from telehealth care to community-based counseling, depending on their individual needs. We'll initiate a new program focused on daily breathing exercises and mindfulness exercises. And we'll continue to expand nutrition education standards and plant-powered menus in our schools. Our children may hate me today, but they will love me tomorrow. And this year, we're going to make long overdue updates to our fair student funding formula, redirecting $90 million towards supporting students in temporary housing in schools with a concentration of high-need students. Good job, Chancellor Banks. And that brings me to my third promise. Every student will be ready for what comes after high school.
So I just want to point out that the supportive services is important. You know, kids are sitting in school all day, but then, you know, they're home after school, they're home in the summer, they're home on the weekends. And sometimes they need more. I've gone to many schools, and, you know, the kids sometimes are homeless, or their parents need help with their education or their career, or they just may need help on applying for food stamps. So, you know, having that extra support that the school can offer is something that is missing. You know, in some schools they didn't have any more gym, so you have children not being able to exercise. So that's good.
Cool. It's not just about connecting them to jobs. It's about planning for the future all along the way. Starting this summer, up to 35,000 middle school students in our Summer Rising program will receive career exposure, field trips, and college visits. We are also enhancing and diversifying our largest in the nation summer youth employment program.
So let me tell you about these two. I remember walking into a shelter years ago, speaking with the director on how I can assist and bring, you know, services to the residents. And I remember the director explaining to me that at a certain age, young people are aged out of childcare. And before 14, they are too young for summer youth. So if a parent living in a shelter had a child in between those ages, I believe it's like 12 and 13 or just 13, and you cannot leave the child in the shelter unit because many of them have hot pods. So just, you know, they just don't want children there without an adult. And someone can't come there and care for the child and be there because no one else is allowed to be in there. And I remember the director telling me that the children would really just sit in the park and walk around the neighborhood until their parent comes home back to the shelter, and they would eat at the schools that offer free lunch. But it was so shameful that there was nothing in place for these middle schoolers who just couldn't work or was too old for childcare. So I must say, I'm going to do the other video on it when the mayor announced it. And that was, to me, that was an important piece because it shows that he identified that issue in that gap. So if a parent had to do overtime, they couldn't do overtime because their children were literally just walking around the street with nowhere to go, no programs to attend.
Shamani Williams, you and other colleagues, you fought for this a long time, and no one heard you, but we heard you. And we did the largest in the nation, and we're going to continue to do it every year. Good job. Good job.
And with the summer youth, I've hosted young people in summer youth for years. And it's a great opportunity for them to get job skills, for them to make some money, for them to get an in and a C of the career that they choose. They do need more professionals and employers to take on the youth during the summer and throughout the year. They have other programs. The 14 and 15-year-olds do more programming, and then by the 16-year-olds and up, they are the ones who are actually working. I've had quite a few summer youth young people who worked for me who explained that this money that they were receiving from summer youth was something that was going to help their household, you know, help their parents catch up on money that bills that they were behind in. So this program is a, a really big deal for many people. Many people look forward to it, to see that it's growing. And like he said, it's the largest one in the nation. Not many places have the funding to help the young people get these jobs.
But also this year, we will empower our LGBTQ plus youth through a new initiative that places students in truly supportive work opportunities. Our city is determined to make sure our students graduate from high school with skills, strategy, and purpose. That's why we are expanding our Future Ready NYC program to 90 schools and 7,000 students next year. We want our students to get the experience and support they need to transition to college and career paths before they graduate. So when you get your hard-earned diploma, you'll get more than a handshake. You would get support, direction, and a path to opportunity.
So many young people graduate from high school and they just don't have those goals set, that path, whether they're going to college or they're not going to college, whether, you know, they're interested in doing a trade or just whatever their plans are. So to see this happening is important. I remember speaking to a young man who had no clue about the college process of what he should do or how that financial aid even exists. His mother told him that they couldn't afford college and that he needed to go get a job, and that's all she knew and that's all he knew. So, you know, I know the schools have it and they have counselors, but to expand that and to make it more of a priority for our young people, once again, these agendas that he's putting out is important for 20 years from now, right? This is helping our young people and giving them the educational foundation they're going to need for 20 years from now. So we have a society of people who can be employed, can have businesses, who have careers, who are able to make income and have housing. So this is important.
And our children must be educated, but they must be safe too.